Coming up in this episode, man, y'all's favorite former officer, Brandon Tatum. He's making his rounds. He's all over social media. He's all over YouTube, content creation space. And a lot of people are just exposing Brandon Tatum. Now, this is all surrounded around the events that's going on with the Nolan Wells tragedy. And a lot of people have said what they had to say about Brandon Tatum. And Brandon Tatum has been on social media, and you know how he feels about Black people. You know how he feels about the slavery issue. And it's a lot of things that he has said pertaining around the slavery remarks. A lot of people have questioned him, and a lot of people are catching him in lies. So we all know that he has now come to the forefront because of this Nolan Wells tragedy, because he has interjected himself into the situation where he actually has went out to Horn Island and trying to do his investigation to make everybody believe that them men that was out there with Nolan Wells, his so-called friends, has nothing to do with his death. And he's trying to go on record to prove to people that they had nothing to do with it. So he has become friends with them, and he has got some interviews with the parties involved. And a lot of people have sat down and talked about the interviews that he has had with Nolan Wells' so-called friends. And a lot of people have, picked out certain situations in the interview where Brandon Tatum is being biased because it seems like he's protecting and covering up for the friends, but not actually trying to find out what really happened to Nolan Wells. We've seen him online, going at Nolan Wells' mother. We've seen everything that Brandon Tatum has said. Now, there is a YouTube content creator by the name of Tatum.Had that exposed Brandon Tatum, showed the DMs and everything. And then Brandon Tatum subsequently responded, and he wants to be interviewed by Tatum.Had, but he never responded to that. So Elliott, Connie, the psychotherapist, him and Tatum.Had did a live show together, and they was talking about the interview. Now, Elliott Connie is real sharp in what he does. And now Elliott Connie has been making his rounds on social media because he's very intelligent, and he's a psychotherapist, and he breaks down the body language and deceptive questions on interviews. So we've seen him with Nancy Grace. We've seen him with Willie D. We've seen him with Tatum.Had. So I don't know how they pulled this off, but Elliott Connie was able to get Brandon Tatum on his live show today. And Brandon Tatum came on. They was doing a live show. They was talking about all kinds of subjects. And when I tell you that Elliott Connie just cooked, sliced, and glazed Brandon Tatum, had him running for dear life. Had him at one point talking about, hurry up so I can get up out of here. Had him in shambles. Everybody that was in the live show that was looking, the comments, they was going in on Brandon Tatum. And Elliott Connie did a great job of really exposing Brandon Tatum. I mean, he had him in shambles. And at one point, a couple points, Brandon Tatum was just kept talking over Elliott Connie. Wouldn't let him get his, sentences out. Was trying to overtalk him, trying to take control of the show, trying to hijack Elliott Connie's show. But Elliott Connie reeled it back in, and then he dug deep off in his ass. But before we get off of what Elliott Connie said, man, y'all do me a favor, man. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And what I get out of this, we're gonna react to this. I'm gonna show you one clip that stood out because this thing been circulating and circulating around social media and YouTube when he had his remarks about slavery. And Elliott Connie dug off into him. Like, he gave him the business. And it was crazy how Brandon Tatum wanted to end the interview. He wanted to get up out of there. So, guys, I want y'all to pay attention to this little soundbite and this little clip of what Elliott Connie and Brandon Tatum was talking about, and how he just cooked Officer Tatum. Take a listen.
I'm going to move on to the next topic due to time, but I do not believe you are an accurate consumer of research, given the way you are describing research.
I disagree with you, and I don't believe that you're accurate.
Fair. That's fine. That is totally fine.
He said that's fine.
I am happy to do exactly what you suggested. We will both consume research and then come back and say, here's what we found, and we can explain the research to one another. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, that's be fair. All right, last question, and they get me out of here.
The last question.
He wanted to get up out of there.
Are you familiar with the term internalized racism?
Pay attention, guys.
I don't know what the definition would be in a clinical way, but I can deduce what internalized racism would be. But
what would you say that it is?
I've heard people.
Well,
I've heard people say
go ahead.
as. I've heard people say internalized racism is. Well, let me let you explain it, because I don't want to confuse or conflate two different things. But go ahead and explain it, and then we can talk about it.
So normally, people conflate the idea of internalized racism with self-hatred. And I have seen people say, and you alluded to it earlier, people say he hates his blackness. People say he hates his own skin, et cetera, et cetera. That's actually not accurate per the accurate definition of internalized racism.
Right.
Internalized racism is, I've adopted the mentality and ideas of the colonizer. So a more accurate description of the word would literally be
so let's
internalized
colonizer.
colonizer.
Do you think that I fit in one of these?
Watch this.
Statements.
I'm asking you, do you think you fit?
No,
do you think that
no,
the
I
term
don't.
internalized racism towards you fits?
No, and I'm glad I didn't try to guess what the meaning was, because I believe I conflate the two. If you're saying that internalized racism is adopting the perspective of the colonizer, 100,000%, that's not my perspective. That doesn't apply to me. If you're saying that I have self-hate, no, 100%.
I did not say that.
No, I'm not saying you did. Let me correct it. If this phrase of self-hate is not applied to me either. So internalized racism and self-hate does not apply to me. So do you believe that one of those apply to me?
I do. I do believe the term internalized racism.
Now, we gotta. I know we run a long time, but like you're saying that I have adopted the perspective of the colonizer.
Yes.
Give me an example. It got to be good, because I know we run a long time. Where would you derive that I've adopted the perspective of the colonizer? And can you explain real quickly who that person is, or who that group of people are in America today?
I'll give you a very specific example. You said that you don't believe slavery stole money from the Black community.
I did. That's not what I said. I said you cannot evaluate if slavery stole money. No, because if racism stole money, because money wasn't even on the table. It's not like slaves couldn't even make money. So you can't say they stole something they never had a chance to make. That's what I was referring to. It's not like Black people had money and then it was stolen from them when they were introduced into slavery, and then it could potentially have been given back to them. They never had the earning potential as being slaves. So nothing was stolen from them. Now, opportunities were not provided for them after slavery in an adequate way, but you can't say something was stolen that was never available to them.
So to be clear, you're saying Black people never had anything, so thus it couldn't be stolen. Is that correct?
In slavery, the ones who were slaves, who was purchased as a slave, had nothing to gain or had nothing to, they had no possessions to
in his own lie.
Hold on to, because they were slaves. They weren't even considered persons, humans. They were property, like animals. They had no money to obtain or to give up or to relinquish. They had no choice in it. So that you can't compare that.
So again, I just want to be very clear on what I'm hearing. You're saying that slaves had no property, so thus it couldn't have been stolen.
Yes.
Okay. That is factually inaccurate. We know that from slave documents.
Man. I've never seen nobody put themselves in a situation and get cooked like that. Elliott Connie caught him up in his own lies, man. He challenged every talking point that he had. And you can tell by his body language that he was stunned that Elliott Connie was so educated about what he was talking about. And the crazy thing about it is he wanted to end the show like 3 or 4 or 5 times. He wanted to rush to get up out of there. And did y'all catch the point where he caught him in his own lie and say, hey, I'll run the clip? Brandon Tatum was like, nah. He didn't want to get exposed to the third degree that bad. And see, this is the guy that y'all come in the comments and say that this guy is a stand-up guy. And this is what I'm saying. When you have somebody that's educated and has great talking points and can challenge people on what they say and get them to fumble and bumble all over their words and put them in shambles, you know you caught red-handed then. And that's exactly what Elliott Connie did. Now, Elliott Connie had a live show with Trent Out Loud. Now, Brandon Tatum wants to go on the Trent Out Loud and have a conversation. Now, Elliott Connie and Trent Out Loud already had their conversation. I don't think Brandon Tatum will go on another show like that with people that are dissecting and debunking everything that Brandon Tatum says. And this really has nothing to do, this particular point really has nothing to do with the Nolan Wells tragedy. This has something to do with everything that Brandon Tatum has been saying across the internet before this Nolan Wells tragedy. Everything is starting to resurface. Brandon Tatum has a major, big platform. And he just didn't pop out of nowhere and start doing this stuff. He's been doing this stuff ever since he stopped being an officer. And this is what he does. This is his livelihood now. And he has a major platform. He's been on major shows. He's been interviewed by a lot of major big name content creators and a lot of mainstream media people. But it takes that one YouTube content creators that's not mainstream, that has the education to challenge somebody like this and hold their feet to the fire. And that's what Elliott Connie did. Held Brandon Tatum's feet to the fire, man. He cooked and sliced him to the third degree, man. Y'all do me a favor, man. Y'all get down in that comment section.
I see everyone in the comment section, #salute. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you will know every time I drop a hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot, tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And that will wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.